All right, let's start our class. When you're ready, we will come to our yoga mats. Feel free to grab an extra pillow or blanket to bring with you. We will start laying down. I like to have a little something extra under my head. Depending on the temperature in your space, maybe you turn a fan on, or if you're in a very chilled place, maybe you grab a blanket for up and over top of you. And then finding some kind of lying down or restful position that suits you today. Could very well look like Shavasana, corpse pose with your arms and legs outstretched. Could certainly be constructive rest pose, bending your knees and standing your feet up at the edges of your mat. And maybe your knees rest together at the center today. Or maybe they do their own thing. And feel free to take a little bits of movement that come to mind until you feel ready for stillness if that moment comes. And just keep adjusting, figuring out what you need to feel comfortable. Maybe you close your eyes once you get there, or maybe you keep your eyes open, just softly focusing in some direction. And notice your facial features, all the muscles of your face, and just find a sense of softening through the eyebrows and the cheeks, and your mouth, and your jaw. Finding our proper oral posture. Again, softening the jaw, sealing your lips, and creating just a tiny little hint of space between the biting surfaces of your teeth. Depending on your bite, maybe a couple of teeth are even touching a little bit, or maybe there is truly a small hairline gap between the top and the bottom teeth. And then gently press or rest your tongue up on the roof of your mouth. If it's possible to breathe just through your nose, let's imagine or sense the nostrils and the nasal passageways widening and clearing with every inhale and exhale, so that it becomes easier and easier for you to breathe. Soften your jaw again, especially if you know you hold some tension there. No problem. Sometimes it takes several rounds or continuous rounds of checking in with those tension tendencies. Just kind of smoothing things out more and more every time you check. Letting your upper back sink down into the mat. The back side of your body greeting the floor, settling in. And as you breathe through your nose, take a moment to notice the sense of smell. See what kind of information you can get about your surroundings by your sense of smell. Maybe you can label some smells. Maybe it's more ambiguous. Maybe you don't have to label the smell. And then tuning into your surroundings, using your sense of hearing. Finding a sound that seems the most clear to you. A sound that is distant. Maybe noticing even one more sound. And then rolling your tongue around your mouth, picking up any lingering flavors or tastes. Maybe massaging your gums on the inside and outside edges of your teeth just for a moment. And noticing your sense of feeling here. Noticing any textures or densities around you, maybe the feel of the floor compared to the mat, if you have a pillow, maybe the feel of your clothing or the temperature. And if you have your eyes closed, I invite you to slowly open your eyes, maybe just halfway if that feels nice. Just kind of subtly, passively, kind of looking around, using your sense of sight, almost like half sight. So we're not looking for every little detail, we're just kind of gently scanning for a general layout of what's around you. Almost like you're just kind of sleepily looking around. Just notice what catches your eye. Then I'll invite you to try experiencing as many of your senses as possible at the same time. So, can you keep noticing your sense of sight, sounds, tastes, smells, and feelings? Just notice how you feel there with all of your senses engaged. This is the best way I know how to live in the moment and be present. Noticing each sense and then all of the senses together, aware. And then slowly closing your eyes again if you'd like, retracting now from our senses back to the mind. Remembering this internal world. And when you get here back into the mind, maybe just drawing a closed eye gaze up to your third eye center. Sometimes that can kind of ground you in the mind. Looking up with a closed eyes up at the third eye center can also be known as the screen of the mind. And on this screen now, I invite you to pick an emotion or an intention that you'd like to hold for this practice. It could just be a vision of you feeling a certain way. It could be a color or an element or a flower or a food you want to work with. Doesn't have to be clever. Just choosing something now. And really try to visualize this intention or item or focus in your screen of your mind. Some people can actually visualize things, other people can't really do that, so just holding the word or feeling however you can. Let's take 3 clearing breaths now. Inhaling deep into the lungs, so much so that it feels like we're belly breathing, the belly is expanding with that inhale. Open mouth exhale, either sighing or blowing out of the mouth. 2 more like that. And when the timing is right, starting to wiggle fingers and toes. Maybe blinking your eyes back open. Start to circle your ankles and wrists a couple of times in both directions. And then head into a long body stretch, reaching your arms up and overhead, legs go long, fingers and toes reaching and stretching in opposite directions. And then when you're ready, let's start to roll onto either side, coming into the fetal position for a moment. Take your time on your side. Take at least one big full breath in and out. Maybe a little longer. And then start to press your way up to a comfortable seat when you're ready. If you have a pillow or blanket, maybe, or your blocks, maybe you sit up on a pillow or blanket there. And then we'll tent the fingertips off to the side here and just start to notice what feels like a nice alignment for your spine. I like to close my eyes during this just so I can feel what it's like versus trying to make it look a certain way. So just noticing your sitting bones at the base of the pelvis, grounding down, rooting down into whatever you're sitting on. Noticing your fingertips if they touch the floor, using that support beneath your fingertips to help you sit up nice and tall. Measure your sense of balance between effort and ease here and just chill a little bit. Doesn't have to be perfect. When you're ready, let your chin come down toward the center of your chest, acknowledging what the back of your neck is feeling here. And then eventually let your left ear rock toward your left shoulder, feeling those muscles on the right side of your neck stretching, loosening. Relaxing that right shoulder down and away a little bit more. You could find a little bit of rocking or kind of an upward and downward twist of the gaze with the neck if you want, or just stay still. Eventually, letting your chin come back down toward the center of your chest, and then slowly rocking your right ear toward your right shoulder. And this time, noticing that nice, subtle, maybe it's not subtle for you, but that nice stretch through the left side of your neck, the loosening of those neck muscles, scalenes. And if you want to go back and forth a couple of times, feel free. We'll be here for maybe about 3 more breaths or so. So just fill this time with whatever feels interesting as far as movement with the neck or beyond. And then pause with your chin back down at the center of your chest. With your inhale, start to lift your gaze up toward the sky and kind of stick the chin out a little bit at the top so you feel a little bit of stretch happening through the neck and the chin. And then exhale, bring your chin back down toward the center of your chest. Try to go really slow. So you would take your entire inhale to look up. And your entire exhale to look back down. Let's do that one more time. Inhaling to look up. Exhaling, come back to center. And then with an inhale, we'll turn the head to look to the left. Exhale and turn to look to the right. A couple times like that. Inhaling, looking to the left. Exhale, looking to the right. One more time. Inhale to the left. And exhale to the right. Great. All right, now come back to the center. We'll do a little bit of side bending here. So I invite you to take your left hand and just place it across your body, kind of on your right ribs or wherever you can reach. So the left hand is reaching toward the right rib cage. Lift your right hand up and overhead. Let's take a big breath in as we're kind of imagining ourselves as like an accordion. So as we side bend to the left, let's imagine the right lung really filling up with air here. So take a big breath into that right side as you side bend to the left. As if you're grabbing something with that right hand, let's grab it and exhale and pull it down, squeezing the air out of the right side of the lung. Let's do that a few times. Let's inhale and reach over to the left, filling the right lung. Exhale, squeeze that right side, counter twist or counter bending. Let's keep going. Inhale, reach. Exhale, squeeze it out. Let's do that one more time. Inhale here. Exhale, squeeze it out. All right, let's switch sides. The right hand comes to somewhere like the left rib cage, wherever you can. Left hand reaching up. Take an inhale, side bending to the right, filling the left lung, the left side with air. Exhale, pull that left elbow down, squeeze the air out of that left lung. Nice and gentle. Inhale, reach the left arm up and over. Exhale, squeeze it out. Two more. Inhale, bending, filling that left side with air. Exhale, squeeze. One last time. Inhale. And exhale, squeeze it out. All right, come back to the center. Let's move along to hands and knees. If you like extra cushion beneath your knees, now's a good time to put something there. Really nice to grab like a gardening kneeling pad. That can be really good for the knees, but fingertips will be spread out nice and wide. Shoulders right above the wrists. With your inhale, start to lower your belly, lift your tailbone and your gaze, finding cow pose. Exhale, round your spine, tuck your chin, tuck your tailbone, lift that belly button, and continue on. We're inhaling to cow pose, gaze lifts, belly lowers. Exhale, cat, rounding up. Keep going now. Always feel free to add on extra little movements or explorations, any extra twists or turns or stretches or yawns along the way. Those sometimes can be the best parts. Okay, we're gonna thread the needle here. So we'll bring that left hand, you could bring it to the center of your mat or just, a little bit closer toward the center if you want. With the right arm, we're gonna take an inhale and reach out toward the side or way up high. You choose. You could rotate out that right wrist a little bit here as we're up at the top. Keep breathing. We're gonna take a few kind of warm up twists here, so we're not gonna settle in right away. Take a breath in at the top. With your exhale, we're just dipping and twisting, reaching that right arm down and through. Inhale, lift it back up. Really good for the mid back here. Exhale, dip and twist. Okay, one more time. We're going to inhale to reach that right arm high. And with this exhale, settle into your thread the needle position, reaching that left arm, setting the right shoulder down on the ground, right side of the head down. Your left hand could stay in place where it's at, or option to crawl that left hand up toward the top of your mat for support. Maybe you press your right arm down into the mat as you lift the left hand up. Maybe you find a different variation that feels good to you. Just make sure you're not punishing your body. Make sure it feels like a joyful expression that you're choosing. Breathe deep, see where you feel that breath enhancing or changing your experience. One more big breath in and out. Plant that left hand back up there by your face. Press into your left hand as you lift up. Reach your right hand high. And then bring your right hand to the ground. We're going to switch sides. Inhale to lift that left arm straight out or up high. Stay here as you breathe, circling out that left wrist a little bit. We'll do our 3 dip and twists before settling in to our thread the needle. So when you're ready, take a breath in. Exhale, dip and twist. Twisting over there. Inhale, lift back up. Exhale, dip and twist. Last one. Inhale, reaching high. And exhale, thread the needle. Left arm reaches through, left shoulder and side of the head might reach the floor. You could also build yourself some kind of little platform. Maybe your head comes to a block, or your shoulder and your head come to blocks. That could be nice. Adjust until it feels right for you. And any hand or arm variations with that right arm, go ahead and get into those. That right hand could reach up toward the top of your mat or reach up high. One more breath in. One more breath out. Press that right hand into the floor by your face. Reach on up. Left arm goes high. And with an exhale, both hands come to the floor. Let's find our way to extended child's pose. So the knees will go out wide, big toes touching behind you, and just start to sink your seat toward your heels. Maybe resting on your forearms, maybe walking your hands out toward the top of your mat and then sinking your head and heart down toward the floor. Find your belly breathing again. Let your breath help your body stretch out in the ways it needs to. Trying to move from a place of mind into the body. We're always talking about this mind-body connection, and they're so intertwined. But sometimes in physical practice, sometimes it can feel nicer. Instead of thinking about things, we're kind of working more from a place of feeling. It's not trying to think about making it look a certain way, just exploring how it's feeling to you. Let your body give you some cues. One more breath in and out. With an inhale, start to rise back up to your tabletop. Maybe straightening one leg, then the other a couple times. Could feel nice, your call. And then we're gonna get into our first downward facing dog. Say this all the time, but I always use my blocks for the first one, especially in like public classes and everything. Just don't ever be shy about grabbing blocks and props. I think it just empowers everyone else to do what feels good. So hands on blocks if you have them. We're curling those toes under. Pick up your knees and then reach your tailbone back and up. Pressing into all edges of the hands, really active hands and wrists. Reach through your shoulders. Find your breath. And maybe start to pedal out your legs, bending and straightening opposite knees a couple times. Maybe lifting up to the tippy toes and then sinking the heels down a couple times, making this first down dog your own. See if you can soften a little bit through your neck and through your face. One more big breath in here. And breath out. Inhale, bend both knees, look up to your hands, and exhale, step or walk your feet up toward your blocks or hands for ragdoll forward fold. Keep breathing here, maybe grabbing opposite elbows, maybe finding a little bit of a swaying motion. You could try experimenting with bending your knees even deeper, finding back stretch here. And if ever it feels like too much to be upside down like that, come on up to a halfway lift position. You can still get a good amount of stretch through the back of the legs there. And if you've grabbed opposite elbows, let's release the grip and switch which forearm is on top. One more breath in. One more breath out. When you're ready, let's slowly start to rise up to stand, walking your hands up your legs, taking your time. There's no rush to get to the top, but whenever you do, just start some intuitive movement, bouncing or shaking of your body. So it could start with just the hands, kind of throw in the hands a little bit, or clapping, or just kind of pretending like you're flicking water off of your hands. Maybe the rest of the arms or the shoulders want to get a little bit more involved. Inevitably, I want to like start bouncing my knees or lifting and lowering the heels on the floor. Just like you're creating the sense of bouncing on a trampoline in a gentle way, getting this nice pulsing shake or rhythm through the body, helping to release any stagnant energy, any dense energy that's ready to move. Shaking can be magical. Whew. All right, once you're done with your shake, come on up to the top of your mat, find a comfortable foot position, lift up all of your toes, spread out the toes, and then set them back down to a nice firm grip on the floor. With your inhale, reach both hands high up and overhead, joining palms at the top. Exhale, lower hands to heart center with a little tuck of your chin. Inhale, hands reach high, gaze might lift. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Arms reach wide, hinge at your hips, and then release your hands to the floor. Inhale, halfway lift, hands slide up to the knees, shins or thighs, look straight down at the ground in front of you. Exhale, lower your hands to the floor or to blocks. We're stepping the right foot back first and then the left to our high plank. You can always lower those knees if you like. One big breath in here, nice and strong. Exhale, knees lower, chest lowers. Untuck your toes, press the top of your feet down into the floor so much that your knees pop up a little bit and your glutes start working. With your inhale, let's lift the head and chest using the strength of the core and spine, finding our baby cobra. Elbows are hugging in toward the sides gently. Exhale, lower down. A simple movement, but really engaging a lot of our body here. Let's do that again. Inhale, baby cobra. Exhale, lower. One last time. Inhale, baby cobra. Let's stay lifted here for the exhale. One more breath in. With your exhale, press your way up through tabletop and back to child's pose using that exhale. Rest here in child's pose, 2 breaths. Inhale, feel that mid back expand. Exhale, release something. One more breath in. One more breath out. Inhale, rise up, tabletop. Curl those toes under, grab your blocks if you want, and then eventually we're exhaling to downward dog for 3 breaths. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, feel those shoulders working, press down, exhale. Last breath in, last breath out. Inhale, bend your knees, look up toward your hands, but with your exhale, we're gonna step just the right foot forward and then lower your left knee down to the floor right away. Inhale, sweep the arms around and up, feeling some hip opening through that left hip joint here, breathe. Lifting your heart, maybe even your gaze slightly up, 2 more breaths. Let this feel like a joyful pose if you're up for it. 1 more breath in. And exhale, open arm twist toward the right. The left hand reaches forward, the right hand reaches back. Breathe here, let your shoulders relax a little bit. Inhale, unwind, reach both hands high, look forward. Exhale, lower your hands down on either side of that left foot or up on your blocks. Curl your left foot under, left toes under, pick up that left knee, and then step your right foot back to meet your left. Walk your hands to the back of your mat so you end up in a forward fold at the back. Once you're there, take an inhale, halfway lift, looking straight down so the back of your neck feels long. Exhale, release into your forward fold once more. Press down through the bottoms of your feet. Inhale, start to rise up, reaching the arms around until the palms reach together at the top. Exhale, hands come to heart center. Big breath in and out. Feel that heart beating. 2 more breaths, softening and finding your center. Last breath in, last breath out. Go ahead and blink your eyes open. We're gonna do kind of an unconventional balancing section here today. It's gonna be a little bit more simple than we normally do, but I think a good foot strengthener. So essentially, we're going to come up to our tippy toes. You choose how high. The heels could just be like, you know, a little tiny bit up off of the floor, or you could be going full on, coming way up to those tippy toes. And we're gonna walk to the top of the mat on our tippy toes. So just go kind of slow. Feel your weight shifting from one foot to the other. See if you can pick up that other foot before you take another step. Really nice to have a wall close by here. If that feels like too much to kind of leave the floor with one foot, you could drag your toes on the floor as you take that step forward. So taking your time, coming up to the top of the mat when you're ready. When you're at the top on both tippy toes, take a breath in. Let yourself wobble. And then exhale, lower your heels down to the floor. That feels good. All right, inhale, reaching high. Exhale, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to the floor or blocks. We're stepping the left foot back first and then the right to our high plank. Let's see if we can be here for 2 breaths this time. Inhale. Exhale. 1 more breath in. Breath out, knees lower, chest lowers. Press the tops of your feet down a lot. Again, this time we'll do half locust, so we'll reach the arms straight down by your sides. Palms facing the floor at first. Feet pressed down again, pop those knees up a little bit, feel those glutes starting to work. With your inhale, lifting your head and chest, squeezing an imaginary beach ball behind the back, so palms facing together. Let's stay here. Exhale. Inhale, press down through the tops of your feet a little more. Exhale. One more breath in. It's okay if it feels like work. Exhale, lower down. Stack your hands underneath your forehead and have a rest. Crocodile pose. Breathe here. Let your heels splay out to the sides. Seeing how quickly you can soften your body. Stay here as long as you'd like. Our next move will be to bring our hands next to the chest. With an inhale, press your way up to tabletop. And exhale to child's pose. Take a few breaths. Maybe tenting the hands up, coming to the fingertips if you want a little more of a stretch through the shoulders or the arms or the sides or wherever you feel it most. One more breath in. One more breath out. Inhale, rise back up, tabletop. Curl the toes under and exhale to downward dog. 3 breaths. When you get there, inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last breath in. Breath out. Inhale, bend your knees, look up. Exhale, step just the left foot forward and lower your right knee down. Inhale, reach both hands high, feeling how that right hip flexor starts to stretch as we lift up. And we're breathing here, feeling that joyful expression if you want. It just feels kind of like a joyful pose to me. Spreading your fingertips out wide. One more breath in. Exhale, open arm twist toward the left. Couple of breaths here. Relax your shoulders. You might experiment with gazing back toward the left hand as long as it doesn't throw you off kilter too much. One more breath in and out. Inhale, unwind, send both hands high. Exhale, hands come down to the floor or to your blocks. We're curling the right toes under. Pick up that right knee and then step your left foot back to meet your right and walk your hands to the back of your mat. So we end up in a forward fold at the back. You can get creative with it. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Press your feet down. Inhale, rise up. Sweep the arms around. Palms join overhead. Exhale, hands come to heart, center, home base. Close your eyes if you want. Get reacquainted with your physical and spiritual heart for a few moments. Remembering that intention if you set one today, or that feeling. Let's take a clearing breath now. Inhale through your nose. Sigh it out. Go ahead and blink your eyes open. We'll do another little balancing play here. So instead of coming up under our tippy toes, we're gonna see if we can kind of do this like duck walk, where we kind of lift up the toes a little bit. Maybe you can even walk on your heels. It's harder than it seems. It's really, really nice to have a wall handy if you can. Just see if you can kind of walk forward on your heels. This time we're switching it up a little bit. Let's see if we can walk backwards a little bit too. I kind of find that like robot arms seem to help me with this. And it can be kind of fun. You can take a step to the side. You can try to go a little quicker, forward and back just a couple of times. And whenever you're done, just put your feet down on the ground one time. Let's come up to the tippy toes, lifting those heels. And then exhale to lower back down. Shake out those legs. And then we'll come on down to the floor. So take your time as you find a seat, perhaps first, and then maybe your back. Once you get to your back, let's hug those knees in toward your chest, and then take some free movement, rocking and rolling a little bit of massaging pressure over your back, your low back, your sacrum, that very lowest part of the spine that connects to the pelvis and the tailbone. So that might mean circling the knees a little bit. Maybe they circle together today. Maybe they circle separately. You can let your knees get a little farther away from you or hug them in closer. There's just so many ways to explore. And then we'll bring our feet down to the floor. Let's bring the arms out wide. We're gonna pick the left leg up and cross it over the right, like you're sitting in a chair here. So thigh to thigh, knee to knee, eagle, one wrap of an eagle legs here. Let's pick up the pelvis, scoot over and set down on the left side of your mat, and then allow your knees to start twisting over to the right. You can grab some blocks to prop up your legs at a good spot there. Or if it feels like too much to have the eagle leg twist, you could uncross your legs and just stack one knee on top of the other. And you can either stay as is, or with your exhales, maybe turning your gaze slightly to the left. Maybe your inhales have you rolling the gaze up toward the sky. And again, exhales, maybe turning the head slowly to the left. You can make it a little flow here if you want. And of course, noticing and softening any held tension through that left hip while we're here for another breath or two. And starting to change sides, bringing those knees up, uncrossing your legs, scooting back to the center. This time we'll cross that right leg up and over the left. Again, the thighs are touching, the knees are kind of touching more or less. Picking up the pelvis, scooting over toward the right edge of your mat to set down those hips. And then allow your knees to start twisting over toward the left. You can kind of like shimmy your feet around too until you find the right amount of support just with your feet, or grabbing blocks or props to make sure you're feeling good. We never want to force a twist, so try to not have a lot of torque going on here if you can help it. And you might find that little breathing flow on this side too if you enjoyed it. Inhaling as we look up to the center, and exhaling as we slowly rock the gaze over to the right, the opposite direction of those knees that are twisting. Maybe the inhales have you looking back up. And exhale, twisting the gaze toward the right. Just about one or two more breaths. And then think about coming back up to the center, uncrossing your legs, scooting the hips, the pelvis back to the center, and then taking another long body stretch here. So arms and legs reaching long. And from here, go ahead and improvise a little bit if there are any last movements, poses, or stretches you want to explore. Maybe you find like a kind of like a huge X shape with the body. Maybe you find a happy baby or any other movements that feel good. Once you are ready for your final rest, go ahead and get situated in a comfortable, restful position for you. Maybe that's seated, maybe that's laying down in Shavasana again, or constructive rest pose, just having your knees bent, your feet standing at the edges of your mat. You could always opt for something a little fancier, like legs up the wall, or legs up on a chair, or your bed, or your couch. Treat yourself here in any way you can. And there is some really sweet magic, I believe, in making your physical body comfortable. So let that sweetness pour in, adjusting until you start to get hints of that sweetness. Maybe one more clearing breath or a sigh. Letting go of your need to do anything at all, just laying here, enjoying the moment. Remembering that there's nothing really you have to achieve or do or be in order to treat yourself with these moments of rest. You might even let a warm sense of self love nourish your being. Grateful for practicing and moving and caring for your body, your mind, your community. You are doing it, and you're doing it well. Just breathe now. A few more breaths. Letting your cheeks go floppy. Letting your eyes rest. Softening up the jaw and the throat and the neck. Softening more. letting go even more just to be more present right now. As always, please stay here as long as you'd like. Eventually, when you're ready to move on, just start to move your body in small, kind ways. Maybe a wiggle of the fingers and toes, or a deepening of your breath, or a gentle opening of your eyes. Maybe a yawn, or a swallow. Perhaps a long body stretch, or any other movements. And then eventually choosing a side and rolling over to the fetal position. Maybe your bottom arm is your little pillow now. Tuck your knees in a little bit. Take a full breath, honoring the transition. And eventually pressing your way up to a comfortable seat. Take your time. If it feels okay, we could close the eyes as we join our hands in front of the heart. And you're welcome to sing, chant, or hum, or just listen to our closing Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. It's a kind of a dental soft T, so instead of saying Shanti, it's more of like a Shanti. I'm kind of exaggerating it there, but let's go ahead and bring thumbs up to third eye center. Take a breath in. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. And in a little gesture of gratitude now, if it feels right, let's take a bow forward. Peace. Thank you so much for practicing today. Hope you are feeling good.